Well, we're camping in bear country on today's episode of Roughshod Outdoors. Howdy folks, today I'm going to shift gears a little bit and I'm going to talk about, give some tips on camping in bear country, staying safe, and stuff that you can try to minimize any human bear conflicts. Now, a lot of people go camping for a lot of different reasons, fishing, hunting, obviously. Some people just like to go camping. Obviously, if there's no hunting season open, it's always fun to just go camping. But there's always, when you're in the woods and the mountains, there's obviously some protocols, some precautions that you should take to minimize any bear conflicts. Here, there's no grizzly around here, but there's a lot of black bears, and it seems like black bears are they're some of the worst for getting into garbage. So that is obviously your first big concern. Although in Alaska, geez, I mean, them coastal brown bears would come right into Sitka and knock over trash cans and make a mess. But I'm standing right in the smoke of my campfire here. So that's something we can talk about, you know, is your food supply. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. You know, these freeze-dried meals are getting really popular in today, and for the most part they're handy because I think I'm too far away from the camera. They're real handy because they don't weigh much. You can pack a lot of it. They're filling, easy to cook, not much cleanup. So they've become really popular for that, and I like them. I call it the ultimate bachelor food because you don't have any cleanup. You can eat that stuff at your house and you don't have any cleanup. But depending on where you're camped, if you're camped somewhere where you can drive a vehicle right up to, I highly recommend keeping your vehicle or keeping your food supply in your vehicle. Do not put it in your tent, or you might wake up next to a big, not so cuddly bear going through your tent. Now that might seem to be Captain Obvious to some. Don't keep your food in your tent, but maybe to some people it's not. So again, if you have your vehicle, you drive right up to your campsite, keep your food in your vehicle. Now, if you're packing in horseback, depending on if you use panniers or manis, they do make panniers nowadays that are bear proof, and even just regular hard panniers with, they got the straps that go over, and it's kind of like the belts that we wore in high school football with the two metal loops that you come through and then back through if you get it. If you get those good and tight, are pretty tough for a bear to get into. So that's, I guess, food. You know, if you got I know what we did at hunting camp a lot of spike camp in Alaska, there was 55-gallon barrels with the cover that would snap over. That bears had a tough time getting into those. But yeah, I mean, if you're backpacking, out camping, you don't have a vehicle, you don't have hard panniers or something to keep your food in. If you can, boy, when you're backpacking, it's tough to carry a bear-proof container, but again, I wouldn't keep it in my tent. So, and another thing that I like when I'm in bear country, besides a sidearm, is a lever action carbine. And depending on what kind of bear country you're in, 4570 is probably going to be a better option. Obviously Marlin, but now Rossi makes them. Henry, Smith & Wesson I think does. And then you can get a Winchester 1886. They're just a tad bit more money, but not much. For black bear country, a 3030, lever action 3030 is really all you need. A 3030 is taking more black bears than any cartridge in existence. I'm fairly certain of. This is a Model 94 Winchester Trapper model, so it's a 16-inch barrel. A shotgun with slugs is also good to have. So, you know, if you're like fishing or fly fishing or something, or then it's good to have a long arm in camp, or at least if you're fishing along the river with you, because it is a better, more reliable stopper than any sidearm, except maybe the 460 Smith & Wesson, the 500 Smith & Wesson, 500 line ball. But that stuff is kind of specialty, and a lot of people don't like carrying stuff that big. So, and another thing about a long arm is it's a lot easier to shoot a long arm accurately than it is a sidearm. So, it's not going to be something you'll always pack with you. You might just leave it in your camp. Depending on where you are, that might not be such a good idea. But I'm a big believer in having if you're in grizzly or brown bear country, a 4570 in camp. Black bear country, a 3030 will suffice. And I see if my coffee is boiling yet. Oh, it's getting there. Get it a little bit closer. I was going to say about bear spray. Bear spray does work. I've never actually bought a can of it. It's something else I would have to carry when I'm hunting. I really, I would much rather carry a sidearm, a 6-gun, 10mm automatic, 45 ACP loaded up, heavy hard cast from like buffalo boar or something like that. But when it comes to bear spray, the problem with that is if you're in a really windy area, which seems like the wind's always blowing in certain places. A lot of places in interior Alaska, the wind blows all the time and strong. And if you have the wind in your face and you try to shoot that bear spray, it's going to come right back at you. And there have been documented cases of people using bear spray. It didn't work. They got it all over themselves. And the bear actually was found licking the bear spray off the person. So I guess if you just want to, I'm not saying bear spray is wrong or ineffective, because I think for preventing a charge, it's actually more effective than a warning shot. But it's just not something that I really care to carry. In all honesty, it's more dangerous than a sidearm. A lot of people have had them go off on accident in their face. They're just, I think they're more dangerous than a sidearm. Especially, it's, like I said, there's a documented case of a lady in Denali National Park in Alaska. They were backpacking. She was helping somebody else with their backpack, and a can of bear spray went off right in her face. And there's other times where stuff like that happens. A lot of bush pilots won't even let you have it in the cabin of the airplane, because if that goes off in a Super Cub or a Cessna 185 or a 172 or something like that, you're gonna get gassed. And so I'm just not a huge fan of bear spray. Another tip is, this isn't always an option for people, but if you set up your camp somewhere with good visibility, now like where I'm at here, I can see all around where I'm camped. There's a little bit of brush right out in front, and a little further it gets brushy to the north of me here, but for the most part I can see everywhere where any wild animals approaching. I'm gonna usually know pretty well if there's light. In Alaska in the summertime it never gets dark, so well, a little bit, but anyway, for that, you know, like just this morning I came out of my tent and there was a white-tailed doe standing right over there, and so that was kind of cool to see. So yeah, I guess anything else, you know, I would say, depending on what you're doing, you can't always choose your campsite. Sometimes if you're in a park or something, they have designated campsites, but anyway, my coffee is about to start boiling, so I'm going to sit down and enjoy my coffee. You guys, I hope this video helped you guys, and if you had any questions, go ahead, and if there's something else you want me to cover, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, and I will try to get back to you. I love reading the comments, even some of the nastier ones. Kind of chuckle at it, but yeah, hit a like, hit subscribe if you want to. It sure helps me get out there more. So yeah, that'll be today's video, tips on camping in bear country. I'm Pete Refshaw with Refshaw Outdoors. Keep your powder dry.